This call is now being recorded. So, hi everyone and good morning or good afternoon kung hapon nyo pinapanood itong ating recorded discussion. So, for today, I welcome you to our first lesson. And for our lesson 1, ang ating topic is all about the intellectual revolutions that defined the society. Okay, so let's first discuss kung ano yung magiging objectives natin for this lesson. So at the end of this lesson, the students or kayo should be able to discuss how the ideas postulated by Copernicus, Darwin, and Freud contributed to the spark of scientific revolution. And letter B, analyze how scientific revolution is done in various parts of the world like in Latin America, East Asia, Middle East, and Africa. So, pag-uusapan natin dito yung iba't ibang klase ng mga development and scientific revolution sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo. So, para na rin tayong nag-round trip. Okay, so ang unang question ko sa inyo is kailan ba nag-start ang science? So, meron ba kayong idea kung kailan nagsimula ang science? Ang science class ay hindi talaga natin malalaman kung kailan pinaka-exactly siya na-discover or nalaman talaga. So, science is as old as the world itself. Dahil simula pa noon, yung mga sinaunang tao, nagagamit na nila yung science without even knowing it. So, there is no individual that can exactly identify when and where the science began. From the genesis of time, simula pa sa simula, science has existed. So it is always interwoven, so lagi nandiyan yan sa ating society. So how can we define science? Okay? So another thing pala class, this lesson will give light para sa inyo pagdating sa development of science and scientific ideas in our country, in our society. And also, ang goal ng lesson na to is for you to have different ways, articulate ways, in which yung society natin ay madidetermine natin kung paano nag-transform yung science and technology. Okay? So, balik tayo doon sa definition ng science. So, paano ba ano ba yung definition ng science? Okay, so we have four definition ng science. So science can be defined as an idea. So science as an idea. Next one is science as an intellectual activity. Third, body of knowledge. And fourth, personal and social activity. Okay, so simulan natin doon sa science as an idea. So dito sa as an idea, kabilang dyan lahat ng ideas, lahat ng theories, and lahat ng available systematic explanations and observations about sa ating mundo, about sa natural and physical world. So in other words, lahat ng na-observe natin dyan ay pwede nating pagkunan ng ating idea in terms of science. Okay? So the second one, science as an intellectual activity. So dito naman sa part na to, ang kabilang dito or ang nilalaman nito ay lahat ng mga systematic and practical study ng ating mundo, ng ating natural and physical world. So itong process na to, so, this intellectual activity is a process that involves systematic observation and experimentation. So, kung kanina we're just talking about ideas na pwede nating makuha sa ating surroundings, yung pwede nating makita and makuha, dito naman magkakaroon na ng applications and pwede nang i-apply or pwede nang magkaroon ng experimentation. The third one is body of knowledge. So sa body of knowledge, it is all about the field and subject or discipline na may kinalaman sa science. So ano-ano yung mga yon? For example, it deals with the process of learning about natural and physical world. So pwede rin itong matawag na School of Science. So ano itong mga body of knowledge? Lahat nga ng mga field na may kinalaman sa science like physics, chemistry, biology, lahat ng mga yan ay under ng body of knowledge. The fourth one, science as personal and social activity. Okay, so ano naman kaya itong personal and social activity? So this time, this definition, it explains that science ay pareho daw siyang knowledge at may kinalaman din sa activities na ginagawa ng isang tao in order for us to better understand our world. So, yung lahat ng nakapaligid sa atin. So, bali, in other words, ito ay pinagsamang idea and applications of your observation. So, it means, itong personal and social activities, it means to improve life and to survive in life. And it is interwoven in people's lives. So, lahat ng mga nasa science as an idea, intellectual activity, body of knowledge, andi dito yun lahat sa number 4 definition ng ating science. So, meron na ditong idea and meron pang application in order for us to better understand our surroundings. Okay, so ito yung apat na definition o pwede nating mabigay na definition ng science. Okay? So, human beings have embarked in scientific activities in order to know and to understand everything around them. So, merong mga taong talagang persistent sila na inobserve at pinag-aralan yung ating natural and physical world in order for them to understand ano yung nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran, ano yung ibig sabihin ng mga bagay-bagay, and or in order for them to answer different questions. So dahil doon, nakapag-develop sila ng kaiba't ibang ideas. And later, ito ay kinonsider nila or tinawag nila as philosophy. And itong philosophy na to, ang purpose niya is to provide alternative or possible explanation sa iba't ibang phenomena, sa iba't ibang certain phenomena. So, ang humans noong unang panahon din, they also used religion, yung mga religion, to rationalize the origins of life and all lifeless forms. And alam niyo class, ang idea ng scientific revolution ay nagsimula in century in Europe. O yan. So yung scientific revolution nag-start talaga siya sa Europe. So bakit sa Europe? Papaano nila nasabing sa Europe nag-start? So the probable answer is because doon nag-start yung intervention, yung mga invention, I mean, ng iba't ibang um, technology like printing machine, and meron ding mga blooming intellectual activities, and then doon din masyadong nakita yung maraming tao na maraming idea pagdating sa science. Bakit? Dahil marami nag-aaral ng science. So, growing number of scholars in various fields in terms of science. So, hindi ibig sabihin na ang science ay isa lang siyang foreign idea na nag-transport or lumipat-lipat sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo. So lahat tayo kaya natin mag-examine ng science, yung history ng science, yung technology, and also medicine and mathematics. So lahat ng yan aware tayo na meron tayo nito sa ating mga sinaunang mga ninuno natin. So lahat ng yan ay um, na-discover doon sa Europe. Okay, ano ba yung scientific revolution na sinasabing ito? So, scientific revolution, ito yung definition, series of events that mark the emergence of modern science during the early modern period when developments in mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, and chemistry transformed the views of society about nature. Okay, so ano ba tong scientific revolution talaga? This was the period in which ito yung time na na-enlighten yung mga tao pagdating sa development ng iba't ibang fields ng science like mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, chemistry, at lahat ng yan ay na-transform or nabago yung pag-iisip ng society pagdating sa kanilang kapaligiran. So dahil din doon sa scientific revolution na yon, mas lalo nilang naintindihan yung bagay-bagay sa kanilang surroundings. And it also explained the emergence of birth of modern science as a result of different developments. Ano yung mga developments na ito? So, yung mga nabanggit ko nga rin kanina. So, the ideas generated during this period enabled the people to reflect, rethink, and re-examine their beliefs and their way of life. Kasi syempre noon, ang paniniwala lang nila kapag may mga pangyayaring ganito is because of something din na pinaniniwalaan ng kanilang kanunuan. Pero meron palang explanation yon in science. So, noong time na yon, nagkaroon ng um, revolution o parang nagkaroon ng mga nagrebelde sa kanilang mga unang pinaniniwalaan. So, doon nagsimula yung scientific revolution at tinawag din nila ito na golden age para sa mga people, sa mga tao na talagang committed sa pag-aaral ng science. Pero during that time, yung mga tao na talagang um, persistently na pinupursue yung pag-aaral ng science, nagkakaroon sila ng conflict. Maraming mga tao noon na nakaranas ng painful death and na-condemn sila because of their ideas pagdating sa science. And also, nagkaroon ng condemnation dahil nagkaroon ng conflict sa mga religious institution. Dahil ang mga religious institution before, gusto nilang i-preserve yung kanilang faith, yung kanilang religion, and yung kanilang theological views. And dahil sa science, naapektuhan yun. So, some rulers and religious leaders yung mga early works ng mga scientists natin. Pero hindi doon nag-stop o hindi doon tumigil yung mga tao, especially yung ating mga scientists, because they want to satisfy their curiosity pagdating sa ating physical world, sa ating natural world. Okay. O yan. So ano-ano ba yung mga meron na characteristics ng ating mga scientists? Okay. So, ang ating mga scientists na yan, they are very curious, they are very creative, and they are, they have this critical thinking. So, gusto nilang explore ang ating mundo, kaya matatawag natin na they are passionate to know everything in our world. So, para mas maintindihan natin so makikita natin dyan, creativity, curiosity, critical thinking. So lahat ng itong tatlo na ito ang bumubuo sa ating scientists kung kaya sila ay nagkakaroon ng passion to know and passion to discover more about our surroundings, about our environment, our natural world. And because of their passion to know, passion to discover, doon nagkakaroon ng mga science discoveries and also yung technology. Doon nag-start yung kanilang pag-create ng mga bagay-bagay na ito. So, yung mga scientists natin, they are not driven by claymore or gusto lang nilang sila ay may mabigyan ng honor and publicity. They are just ordinary people na gusto nilang gumawa ng mga extraordinary things in order for the other people to be aware na may mga ganong palang bagay. So yung ibang scientists, hindi talaga sila na-appreciate sa kanilang mga ginawa during their time. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, naka-experience pa sila ng painful death. So, yung iba naman, kahit na nakakondemn na ng church during their time, talagang yung iba hindi tumitigil na i-pursue kung ano man yung gusto nila. So, sa kabila ng mga challenges na kanilang na-experience, hindi sila tumigil sa pag-experiment, sa theorize or pag-aaral ng mga iba't ibang theories, discovering more para magkaroon sila ng new knowledge and ideas. So, dito sa susunod kong i-discuss ay makikilala ninyo yung tatlong notable scientists na talagang maraming na-contribute pagdating sa science. So for sure, alam nyo na kung sino yung mga mababanggit ko dito. Baka yung iba sa inyo ay kilala nyo na sila. Okay, so let's start with Nicolaus Copernicus. Okay, so si Nicholas Copernicus, siya ay isa sa Renaissance man. So particularly pagdating sa field ng science. So ang knowledge niya about sa nature and universe ay talagang napaka lawak. Napaka-complex na kanyang knowledge. So during the ancient Greece, about 1,500 years before Copernicus came to the scene, talagang marami na ring mga ideas about knowledge pero iba yung na-contribute ni Nicholas Copernicus. So, he was appointed as an canon of Frankfurt Cathedral in Poland and siya ay naimpluwensyahan ng isang book na tinatawag na Epitome at na-publish iyon noong 1496 ni John Mueller. So, ang kanyang mga ideas pagdating sa um, thought experiment, ang isa din sa kanya talagang kinilala siya. I mean, isa sa talagang nakilala siya. Siya ay nakapagtapos ng kanyang doctorate degree. And si Copernicus na ito ay kahit na siya ay naging canon na, marami pa ring time kasi busy na siya as a canon, marami pa rin siyang time pagdating sa kanyang interest in astronomy. So si Copernicus talagang nag-aral, nagbabasa ng book, at ang pinakakinahihiligan niya ay yung pagdating sa observations about heavens and some commentary pagdating sa early works, yung sinasabi din na Ptolemy. Okay. Then Copernicus' idea and model of universe was essentially complete in 1510. So not long after that, he circulated a summary of the ideas to his few close friends in a manuscript called Commentarius. Okay, so or little commentary. So shinare niya 'yon sa kanyang mga friends. But during that time, there was no proof that Copernicus was concerned about the risk of persecution ng mga church kasi napakahigpit nga nila noon before pagdating sa pag-share ng mga ideas about science. So walang pakialam doon si Nicholas ng time na 'yon. So kahit na gusto niyang i-publish, wala siyang pakialam kung siya ay ma-condemn or kung ano man yung mangyari sa kanya. So, Copernicus, siya ay napaka-busing tao, si Copernicus. His duty as a canon and as a doctor affected his time to formally publish his book. So, yung book niya na On the Revolutions of Heavenly Spheres in the year of 1543. And kadalasan ito ay sinasite as the start of, or madalas yun yung tinitignan na kanilang references para sa kanilang scientific revolution, yung pag-start ng scientific revolution. So in his book, he wanted a model of universe kung saan ando doon lahat ng mga gumagalaw sa universe, yung around the single center of unvarying rates. So Copernicus placed the sun to be the center of the universe, ayan. He placed the sun to be the center of the universe. The earth and all the planets are surrounding or orbiting the sun each year. So according to this Copernican model, the moon, however, would still be seen orbiting the earth. And then Copernicus' model of the earth orbiting around the sun automatically positioned the planets into a logical sequence. In his model, or the Copernican model, he outlined two planetary motion. Okay, tandaan nyo tong two planetary motion. The first one, the orbits of Venus and Mercury lay inside the orbit of Earth. And sila yung mas malapit sa Sun. And the second, the orbits of Mars, Saturn, Jupiter lay outside the Earth's orbit. So in other words, mas malayo sila sa Sun. So from this model, he would work on the length of time it will take for each planet to orbit once around the Sun. So ang ibig sabihin ng resulta, the result would be form a sequence from Mercury with a shortest year, and through Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn with the longest year. So he placed the planets sa order na increasing distance from the sun. Okay. And one of the great problems na nakaharap ni Copernicus sa kanyang Copernican model na ito is the positions of the stars. So sabi niya, the stars cannot be placed in a fixed position. Hindi daw siya kagaya ng crystals in a distant sphere. So nahirapan siya kung papaano niya i-explain yung position ng mga stars. So Copernicus is also a courageous man. Although yung kanyang Copernican model ay nagiging may sense na, nung time na yon, nadjudge pa rin yung kanyang idea. So hindi pa rin siya in-accept yung itong Copernican model at talagang hindi ni-recognize ng Catholics. So the Catholic Church banned the Copernican model and was ignored by Rome for the rest of the 16th century. So yun yung talagang pinaka-great contribution ni Copernicus pagdating sa universe. So yung orbiting ng iba't ibang planets around the sun. So next naman is si Charles Darwin. So as you all know, kilalang kilala niyo si Charles Darwin pagdating sa theory of evolution. Okay, so Charles Darwin ay isa sa pinaka-famous pagdating sa theory of evolution. He changed ang concept ng maraming tao pagdating sa evolution ng mga bagay-bagay. So according to Johnson 2012, ang pag-describe niya kay Darwin ay isang genius boy na nanggaling talaga sa line of intellectually gifted and wealthy family. So matatalino at mayamang family. He also developed his interest in national history during his time as a student. And he would also at their school to observe his surrounding while collecting specimens, and he poured. According pa rin kay Johnson, si Darwin daw ay pumunta sa mga sikat na mga school, sa mga best school. And he was observed as a mediocre student. Ibig sabihin yung medyo patamad-tamad, bahala na, makapagpasa lang, okay na, like that. Nag-struggle doon si Charles Darwin sa kanyang pag-aaral as in medicine and ministry. And iyon yung that time, nagbago yung life ni Charles Darwin nung siya ay sumama sa kanyang professor na nirecommend siya na sumama sa 5-year voyage doon sa island of Galapagos or Galapagos Island. So, nung time na yon, marami na discover si Charles Darwin at doon na nag-start yung iba't ibang ideas niya. So, Darwin published his book, The Origin of Species, in the year of 1589. Okay? 1589. And also, this book is considered to be one of the most important works in scientific literature. So, si Darwin ay nag-collect siya ng iba't ibang significant materials in order to present his theory, this theory na kanyang napag-alaman sa island of Galapagos with overwhelming evidences. So his book, he presented it as an evidence of how species evolve over time and also kung ano-ano yung iba't ibang traits and adaptation ng mga animals during that time sa iba't ibang species. So like many other scholars, Darwin accumulated pertinent materials and data that he could ever possibly need to substate his theory. So marami siyang evidences na pinakita para masuportahan yung kanyang theory. And then Darwin's observational skills as a scientist was extraordinary. And talagang maraming maraming nag-recognize nitong kanyang theory na 'to. So yung kanyang book, may isa pa siyang book na pinublish, ito ang title nito ay Descent of Man, and it was also impressive yet very controversial. Bakit? Dahil dun sa book niya na yon ay may mga nilalaman about sa um, racism, about sa sex, about kung sino pa ba mas dominant sa boys or sa girls or women and men, like that. So he introduced the idea of all organic life, including human beings, under the realm of evolutionary thinking, and also, yun nga, kung ano yung mga dominant views about religious or biblical design na meron sa human beings. So, yung accomplishments ni Darwin ay napakalawak na talaga naging useful siya sa iba't ibang fields at naging major contribution ng iba't ibang fields like biology and philosophy of science. So more than these works, what made Darwin truly remarkable was his courage to challenge religious and unscientific ideas that are deemed to be prominent during those days. So marami siyempreng mga naging conflict din yung kanyang idea dahil talagang naapektuhan yung idea ng yung belief pagdating sa religion noon nung time na yun. So Darwin provided a different framework for doing scientific activities, and it is a science marked by observation and experimentation. Okay. So, napindot ko kanina si Sigmund Freud. Ayan. Okay, si Freud na tayo. So si Freud ay isa sa pinakakilala pagdating sa field of psychology. And according to sa isang researcher, siya ay dinidescribe as a literary figure and a very talented communicator na nagsishare ng kanyang consciousness, yung pag-raise ng consciousness pagdating sa psychological matters. So, si Freud din ay isa sa significant contributor pagdating sa scientific world through development of important observational method pagdating sa humans' inner life. Isa rin yon sa kanyang gustong i-raise. And his method was known as the method of psychoanalysis. Ayan. Then this psychoanalysis, the scientific hypothesis he formulated formed the essential fundamental version of this method. So para kay Freud, itong method na to ay isang scientific way para maintindihan ang human mind or human mind and neurotic illnesses, yung may mga sakit sa pag-iisip. So it is no doubt that lahat ng mga, kahit na may mga questions sa kanyang works, talagang pinush niya pa rin 'to. Maraming naging academic controversy pagdating sa kanyang idea na 'to. So yung kanyang method na psychoanalysis nagkaroon ng malaking impact pagdating sa scientific way of understanding human nature. So si Freud is not a traditional thinker. Hindi siya traditional thinker. Yung kanyang method na psychoanalysis ay talagang proven to be effective in understanding some neurological conditions that were not understood by medicine at that time. So meron pa siyang method na finocus niya ang human sexuality and the evil nature of man. And also, marami naging challenges doon sa kanyang idea na yon, sa kanyang method na yon. So, to some, they found his idea not easy, especially in his explanation of human sexuality. So, si Freud ay isang um, talagang nakilala sa kanilang panahon during that time at isa rin siya sa pinagkukunan ng idea ng mga nagre-revolve noon, scientific revolution, pagdating sa kanyang mga na-share sa science. Ayan. And also, whether he is more of a psychologist or a scientist is for people to decide. Kasi nga hindi nila talagang ma-accept nung time na yun kung ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin ng kanyang idea. The fact remains that Freudian ideas and theories are still considered nowadays as a great inspiration to examine human mind and also yung behavior in more scientifically accepted way. So, ito yung tatlo na dapat yung tandaan kung saan sila yung may pinaka-major contribution pagdating sa science. Okay. So, next naman is yung iba't ibang development of science in Mesoamerica. So, meron tayong tatlong civilization na mapapagdaanan: Maya Civilization, Inca, and Aztec Civilization. Okay. So, let's start with Maya Civilization in Mesoamerica. Okay, Mesoamerica includes the entire area. Tingnan muna natin dito. Ayan. So, Mesoamerica includes the entire area of Central America from southern Mexico up to the border south of America or South America. And there is no doubt that the Mesoamerican region is rich in culture and knowledge bago pa dumating yung mga European colonizers nila. So, ang pinakauna nating pag-usapan is the Maya Civilization. Okay, so ito. Maya Civilization is one of the famous civilizations that lasted for approximately 2,000 years. So, dun sa tatlong yon, ito yung pinaka matagal na civilization na naglast. Kung titignan natin sa map, ayan, merong color dyan. Makita nyo yung green, ayan yung Mayan civilization. Okay, and another, these people are known for their works in astronomy. Talagang kilala sila sa astronomy. They incorporated their advanced understanding of astronomy into their temples. So malalaman natin na talagang magaling sila sa astronomy based sa kanilang pagtatayo ng kanilang temples. And yun yung pinagbabasihan nila na kanilang astronomical observation. Halimbawa, yung pyramid na makikita sa Mexico or Chichen Itza, Mexico. Yun ay located and situated sa sun during spring and fall equinoxes. So malalaman nila na kapag may spring and fall, yung pyramid na yun ay tatapat sa mismong sinag ng araw. So Mayan knowledge and understanding about celestial bodies was advanced for their time. So, ang mga evidence niyan during that time is yung kanilang knowledge sa pagpipredict ng eclipse and also yung mga cycles para sa kanilang planting and harvesting. So, the Mayans are also known for measuring time using two complicated calendar system. So, meron silang sinusunod na calendar system at itong calendar system na to ay very useful pagdating sa kanilang pagpaplano ng activities sa kanilang lugar. And also yung activities para sa kanilang mga religious rituals and cultural celebration. And the Mayans also developed the technology for growing different crops, building elaborate cities using ordinary machineries and tools, and also hydraulic system. So itong hydraulic system ay may sophisticated waterways or talagang napakalawak nung kanyang nasasakupan na pagsusupply ng water pagdating sa iba't ibang communities. Ayan. So, ito yung example ng kanilang um, hydraulic system, kanilang calendar. Ayan. And then, maliban pa doon, Mayans also built looms for weaving cloth and devised a rainbow glittery paints made of mineral mica. So napakadami nilang contribution or ideas about science. Meron din silang iba't ibang tools in order for them to adapt themselves pagdating sa mga innovations na to, pagdating sa arts. And ano pa, the Mayans also considered as one of the scientifically advanced societies and in Mesoamerica. So they are also famous in the first civilization to use writing system na tinatawag as Mayan hieroglyphics. Ayan, makita niyo yung bawat letters, ganyan yung way na kanilang pagsusulat. And they were also skilled in mathematics. They created number-based system based on numeral, and they independently developed the concept of zero, positional value, and even bago pa dumating yung mga Romans sa lugar. And also, sila rin yung pinakaunang tao na nakapag-produce ng rubber products. So, napakadami nilang naging ideas sa science, yung application nila about that. Yan, makita natin sa Mayan Civilization. And hieroglyphics. Yan. So next naman is the Inca Civilization. Okay. So the Inca Civilization is also famous in Mesoamerica. So the Incas made significant and advanced scientific ideas considering sa kanilang limitations dahil old civilization na sila. So ito yung mga kanilang na develop para magamit nila sa kanilang everyday life. First is may picture ang mapapakita sa inyo. Next one is stone buildings that surmounted earthquakes and other disasters, and also irrigation system and technique for storing water like Mayan civilization. And storing water din for their crops para laki sila ng iba't ibang tanim sa iba't ibang lugar. And they have also calendar with 12 months. And also, they have the first suspension bridge. So ito yung example ng road paved with stones. Ito naman yung stone buildings that surmounted earthquakes and their irrigation system. Ayan. First suspension bridge. Kyupu, a system of knotted ropes. So, ano itsura niyan? Ito. So, ito yung example ng kyupu. Ito yung pantali nila. And this one is the Inca textiles. Itong nasa inyong left side. Okay. And then, okay yan. So, yun lang yung meron sa Inca Civilization. So, next one naman ay Aztec Civilization. So, sa Aztec Civilization, medyo different sila compared sa Mayan and Inca Civilization. So, yung Aztec Civilization, they had made substantial contribution in terms of science and technology and to the society as a whole. So, yung kanilang isang great contribution din as a civilization ay ang mandatory education. So, meron silang Kalmecak and Telpocali. So, yung Kalmecak, ang tinutukoy nito ay ang mga nag-aaral ng may kinalaman sa pagiging leaders, priests, scholars, teachers, pagiging healers, and also yung mga pinag-aaralan nila dito is all about literacy, history, religious rituals, geometry, songs, and military acts. So, ito yung mga advanced studies na may kinalaman din sa astronomy, theology, pagiging prepared as a noble sons dahil yun yung magiging work nila sa government and temple. So, yun yung Kalmecak. And yung Palpokali naman, ito yung mga bata na pinag-aaral nila ng history, religion, agricultural skills, military fighting techniques, craft and trade, and piniprepare sila to be a farmer, metal worker, feather worker, soldier, or potter. And sa Telpocali din, dapat sila ay talented boys, dapat athletic, and dahil sila ay pinapaaral to be an army. So, meron din silang mga military trainings. And the other students, kapag nakapag-graduate sila, babalik sila sa kanilang families to begin their working life. So, yun yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa. The next one naman na meron ding naging great impact sa kanilang civilization ay chocolates. Okay, so chocolates, in Aztec civilization, ang dinedevelop nila ang chocolates during their time. So sa Mayan civilization or Mayan culture, ang chocolate ay isang currency or para siyang pera. They use it as a currency sa Mayan. The Aztec valued the chocolates or cacao beans highly, made it as a part of their tribute to their gods. So ganun ka-important yung chocolate sa kanilang time. Itong picture na to is later malalaman niyo kung ano yan. And the next one is antispasmodic medication. Antispasmodic medication is used as a type of medication para ma-prevent yung spasms sa muscles, para maparelax yung muscles. And also, ginagamit din siya para sa mga surgeries. And another is chinampa. So itong picture na to is the chinampa. Ano yung chinampa? This is a form of their Aztec technology for agricultural farming. So kung mapapansin niyo yan, nakapa-square yung kanilang farm, and sa paligid nun ay water. So divided yung kanilang land into rectangular areas and surrounded by canals. And meron silang Aztec calendar. Ayan, ito yung Aztec calendar nila, itong pa-circle na ito. So this Aztec calendar enabled them to plan their activities, their rituals, celebrations, and planting season. And the last one is the invention of canoe. Itong nasa kabilang side. So itong invention of canoe is like a light narrow boat used for their traveling in waterways. So itong nasa chinampa picture natin, hindi siya ganun ka pointed yung sa dulo kasi ang canoe is medyo pointed. Kung babalikan natin dito sa picture, yan yung ginagamit din nila for fishing, sorry. Ayan. So those are the contribution of Aztec civilization at yung kanilang mga ginagamit or paggamit ng science sa kanilang civilization. So, next naman ay ang development of science in Asia. Ayan. So, malapit na tayong matapos. So, in Asia, ang Asia isa sa pinakamalaking continent in our world and the home of many ancient civilizations. So it is a host to many cultural, economic, scientific, and political activities in all ages. So pagdating sa field ng science, technology, mathematics, talagang nag-i-stood out ang Asia. So kabilang dito ang India, China, Middle East civilization. So itong civilizations na to ay talagang hindi mo maiko-compare sa iba in terms of their contributions dahil napakalaki ng kanilang development sa knowledge during their time. So simulan natin sa India. So India, ayan, India, this is a huge peninsula surrounded by vast body of water and fortified by huge mountain in its northern border. So kung makikita nyo, mapapansin nyo dyan sa map, ganyan kalayo yung India sa atin. Ayan. So the Indians creatively developed various ideas and technologies na magagamit nila para sa kanilang everyday activities, everyday lives. So they are known for manufacturing iron and in metallurgical works. Their iron steel works or their iron steel is considered to be the best and held with high regard in the whole Roman Empire. So ganun kaganda yung paggawa nila ng mga iron steel na ginagamit pa hanggang Roman Empire. So India is also famous pagdating sa medicine. So noted din sila sa medicine. Dahil lang isang example nila dyan is the Ayurveda. Ayan, so Ayurveda. So this is a system of traditional medicine that originated in ancient India before 2500 BC and is still practiced as a form of alternative medicine. So this discovered medicinal properties of plant that led them to develop medicines to cure various illnesses. So meron ding mga ibang Asian texts na ang pag-describe dito is or ibig sabihin nito is different surgical and other medical procedures famous in ancient India. And ito yung Susruta Samhita. Again, Susruta Samhita. So, ancient India is also notable in the field of astronomy. So, hindi lang yung kaninang Maya civilization. So, they developed theories on the configuration of universe. Ayan, so astronomy. And the spherical self-supporting Earth ay talagang pinag-aralan din nila. And according to their studies, the year of 360 days with 12 equal parts of 30 days each. So yan, isa sa kanilang mga researcher, according to them, it is noted that their interest in astronomy was also evident in the first 12 chapter of the Siddhanta Shiromani book. Makita nyo dyan sa inyong screen. So, it is written in 12th century. So, according to Sama, this Asian text covered different topics. So, ito yung mga topics, the mean longitudes of the planets, true longitudes of the planets, and the three problem of journal rotation, CCGs, and also yung lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, latitudes of the planets which is with each other, conjunctions of the planets with fixed stars. So medyo naligaw yung star natin dyan. And kung ano yung paths or dinadaanan ng sun and moon. So ancient India is also known pagdating sa mathematics. Ayan. So according sa mga researchers, ang kanilang earliest traces ng mathematical knowledge in the Indian subcontinent ay nagsimula sa Indus Valley Civilization. Yan. So the people of this civilization tried to standardize the measurement of length. That's why they created this Mohenjo-daro ruler. So ito yung itsura ng ruler na kanilang in-standardize. They also pointed out that there are Indian astronomer na talagang considered as mathematician din. Ayan. So ito si mathematician Aryabhatha. So in his Aryabhathiya, that was his book, introduced the number of trigonometric functions, tables, techniques, as well as algorithms of algebra. So in the year of 628 AD naman, meron pang isa na si Brahmagupta. According to Brahmagupta, he suggested that gravity was a force of attraction and lucidly explained the use of zero as both a placeholder and a decimal digit Hindu-Arabic numeral system. So another pa sa kanya is yung numeral system. And isa pang Indian na talaga may naging contribution pagdating sa mathematics, Madhava Sangamagrama. Okay, Madhava Sangamagrama, the founder of mathematical analysis. So, maraming din siya naging contribution sa kanilang bansa pagdating sa mathematics. Okay, so let's proceed to the next, China. So China, as we all know, is one of the Asian civilizations with substantial contribution pagdating sa iba't ibang areas. So they have this knowledge and contributions pagdating sa medicine, astronomy, science, mathematics, arts, philosophy, music, and iba-iba pa. So Chinese civilization have greatly influenced many of its neighbor countries. At ay yung mga bansa na malapit sa kanila like Korea, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Myanmar, and other countries na malapit sa kanila at nadaanan ng Old Silk Road, kung alam niyo yung story na yon. So the Chinese are also known for traditional medicines. So yung product ng kanilang centuries of experiences ay nakapag-discover ng iba't ibang ideas pagdating sa medicine. They discovered various medical properties, uses of different plants, and they were able to cure it pagdating sa mga animals, yung mga illnesses ng animals, and also um, cure human illnesses. An example is the practice of acupuncture. So, 'di ba, kung yung na papanood nyo sa mga palabas or sa TV, yung acupuncture is like a needle na tinutusok sa ating pores sa katawan ng tao. Pagdating naman sa technology, ayan. Pagdating naman sa technology, marami rin sila naging development and contributions and inventions. So, they developed many tools. Among the famous discoveries na kanilang bansa is the invention of compass, paper making, gunpowder, printing tools, and became known in the West only by the end of Middle Ages. They also invented, ayan, they also invented tools like iron plunge, wheelbarrow, propeller, and ano yung mga itsura niyan? Propeller, and also they developed designs of different models of bridges. They invented the first seismological detector para sa mga natural occurrences kung magkakaroon ng lindol like that, and developed a dry dock facility. Pagdating sa astronomy, in the field of astronomy, they made a significant contributions also and records. Pagdating sa supernovas, lunar and solar eclipse, and comets, and which were carefully recorded and preserved to understand better yung kanilang mga heavenly bodies, yung kanilang weather, and changes of seasons. Okay. And then, they also use lunar calendars. Meron din silang lunar calendars. So the Chinese are also known in seismology. So this made them more prepared in times of natural calamities. Kagaya ng nabanggit ko kanina. So ang China ay marami naging substantial contributions sa iba't ibang fields. The list of their discoveries and invention is very overwhelming. That's why these contributions were made along with mathematics, logic, philosophy, and medicine. Pero kahit na marami silang mga contributions, nagkaroon pa rin sila ng problem because of other Chinese intellectuals made them unable to accept the ideas of laws of nature. So nagkaroon sila ng conflict, like yung mga sinaunang tao noon na nagkakaroon ng conflict pagdating sa kanilang mga great inventions, contributions. Yan. The next one is Middle East countries. Middle East countries, ayan. So the Middle East countries are dominantly occupied by Muslims with the spread of Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries. So, marami sila naging development pagdating sa scientific method in the Muslim world, and they have significant improvements by using experiments para malaman or ma-distinguish yung iba't ibang theories na meron sa iba't ibang bagay. So a Muslim scientist named Ibn al-Haytham is regarded as the father of optics, especially for his empirical proof of intermission theory of light. Another is a mathematician, Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. He gave his them, while the term algebra is derived from aljabar. Yan. So yung aljabar, that is the beginning of the title of one of his publication. So what is known as the Arabic numeral system originally came from India. But Muslim mathematicians did make several refinements to the number system, such as the introduction of decimal point and notation. So, Muslim chemists and alchemists also played an important role in the foundation of modern chemistry. So, ang mga scholars na to ay sila Jabir ibn Hayyan, the father of chemistry, and kabilang na rin si Ibn Sina, siya naman ay field or expert pagdating sa medicine. So Ibn Sina pioneered the experimental medicine and was the first physician to conduct clinical trials. And ang dalawa sa kanyang mga notable works ay the Book of Healing and the Canon of Medicine. Itong kanyang mga books na to ay ginamit as a standard medicinal text in both the Muslim world and Europe during the 17th century. So among his many contributions are the discovery of contagious nature of infectious diseases and the introduction of clinical pharmacology. So ito, sila Jabin Ibn Hayyan and Ibn Sina. So let's proceed to the Africa, development of science in Africa. So this is the last one. Last. Okay. So Africa is blessed with natural and mineral resources. So science also emerged in this part of the planet long before the Europeans colonized it. So the history of science and mathematics show that similar to other ancient civilizations, the early civilizations in Africa are knowledge producers too. So yung ancient Egyptian civilization, marami rin sila naging contribution pagdating sa advancement sa iba't ibang field like yung astronomy, like mathematics, and medicine. So for example, yung kanilang development sa kanilang geometry, that was a product of necessity para ma-preserve nila yung ownership sa mga lupa, sa mga farmlands ng Egyptians. So malapit sa Nile River. So yung rules ng geometry were developed and used to build different structures to pose lintel of architecture ng mga Egyptians. And these early science activities in Egypt were developed to improve the quality of life ng mga Egyptians, especially sa pagtatayo ng kanilang mga bahay, early homes, and to build and to divert the water doon sa Nile River. And then Egypt was also known to be a center of alchemy, which is known as the medieval and forerunner of chemistry. So they also tried to study human anatomy and pharmacology, and also they applied important components such as examination, diagnosis, treatment, and prognosis para magamot nila yung iba't ibang sakit or diseases. This component displayed strong parallels to the basic empirical method of studying science. So astronomy was also famous sa African region. So for instance, yung kanilang mga calendar, they have three calendars: lunar, solar, and stellar. Yung combination ng three. So ganun yung kanilang paggamit ng kanilang calendar. And meron din silang mga ideas about metallurgy. Metallurgy was also known in African regions during the ancient times. So North Africa and the Nile Valley imported iron technology from the Near East region. That's why ito yung nagkapagbigay sa kanila ng development pagdating sa bronze age and iron age na kanilang panahon. They also invented metal tools na nagagamit nila sa kanilang mga bahay and also for agriculture and for building magnificent architectures. And ito nakikita niyong picture is the Lebombo bone. So ano tong Lebombo bone? Mathematics was also known pagdating sa kanilang lugar sa African continent. And itong Lebombo bone, yung kanilang ginagamit as their mathematical tool or mathematical artifact. So libong-bubon from the mountains of Swaziland to South Africa have been used as a tool for multiplication, division, and simple mathematical calculation or a 6-month lunar calendar. So ito yung isa sa kanilang kinoconsider na oldest known mathematical artifact na na discover pa simula noong 35,000 BCE. So ancient Egyptians are good in the four fundamental mathematical operations and other mathematical skills. So they have knowledge of the basic concepts of algebra and geometry. And ito ngang Islamic regions in Africa during the medieval period, they also have the mathematical learning in which ito yung nakatulong sa kanila para maging advanced sa iba't ibang fields during those times like algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. So, ganun kagaling ang Africa pagdating sa mathematics at hindi rin sila napapag-iwanan. Okay, so I hope ay nasundan nyo lahat ang aking nabanggit na mga development ng science and technology sa iba't ibang lugar and also um, ano ba yung pinakasimula ng science noon sa ating compared sa ating panahon, kung ano na yung nangyayari sa science and technology. So, that's it for today and I hope marami kayong natutunan. Thank you and goodbye.